Hey y'all, I just got back from my cruise in Los Angeles on Royal Caribbean's Navigator of the Seas. It was great, had an awesome time. I actually took two cruises. So the first one was a 4-day cruise that stopped in Ensenada and Catalina Island. And then the second cruise was a 7-day cruise where we stopped in Puerto Vallarta, Cabo San Lucas, and Mazatlán. I absolutely love Mazatlán now. I'll tell y'all about that in another video. So this video here, I'm actually going to walk you through a ship tour of the entire ship from the top deck to the bottom deck. And I'm also going to put links in here. I made videos of the two cabins that I stayed in. One was an interior and one was a virtual balcony cabin, which I had never stayed in before. So that was kind of cool. And I also made videos of the ports that I did get off the ship. I got off the ship on all of the ports except for Ensenada, and so I made videos about my experiences there, and I'll put links to all of those in this video as well. So again, this one here is going to be the tour of Navigator of the Seas, and I hope that this video will help you know what to expect when you take your cruise on the Navigator. Hey y'all, if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. I'm Linnell. I'm a retired solo traveler in search of paradise on a budget. I grew up in poverty and decided not to stay there. If you think you don't have enough money to live in paradise, this channel is for you. Subscribe for a better way of life and a pathway from poverty to paradise. We're going to start on deck 15, which is the top of the ship, but you actually have to go on deck 14 to get to deck 15. So if you go to deck 14 and you take these stairs right here, is the only way to get to it, and it's called the Observatorium, and basically that's just the escape room. I love that it had all the Navigator theme and the planets and all that, so I thought it was really cool. And it's just like a regular escape room except it's on a ship, and there is a fee for it, so that is extra, and you do have to have a reservation. So if you're into escape rooms, that's the only thing that's at the top of the ship. All right, so going back down to deck 14 is the Azumi Japanese restaurant. So that is a specialty restaurant. There's an extra fee. They have sushi, hibachi, all that good stuff. Going back over to the other area, you see there's the bathrooms over here on the right. And then going around this way here, I mentioned that I found 4 quiet areas on the ship. The Viking Crown Lounge is one of them. It's usually pretty quiet. Not always, but usually. And as you can see, there is a really good view of the pool deck. Sometimes they have different things up here like trivia. They'll have a live band up here. They play jazz music. In the evenings, there'll be people up here dancing, and of course they have a bar. On the other side, you see the opening to the suite lounge. I haven't been in there because I did not have a suite, and you can only access the suite lounge with your key card if you're booked in a suite room. And then keep going around. Over on the other side by the bathrooms is the Cosmopolitan Club. Basically, that's just the area of the Crown Lounge area that the musicians play in, and they have a dance floor. And again, usually kind of more like a nightclub atmosphere in the evening times. And that's it for deck 14. This ship has a deck 13. I think this is the first ship I've ever been on that has a deck 13. At least that I can recall. I might be wrong. All right, so we're gonna go down to deck 13. Deck 13 has the Navigator Dunes, which is the mini golf, the lime and the coconut rooftop, the rock climbing wall, and then it also has the sports court, the 2 water slides, and the flow rider. On the deck map, it also says that the living room is here. So there's 2 areas for the teens. It's called the back deck, which is the outside area, and the living room, which is the inside area. That's actually not on deck 13. I think they just want to drive the traffic, drive the teenagers to deck 13 and then have them walk down the stairs. But it's actually on deck 12, which I'll show you. Yeah, so here's the back deck and the living room, and then you have to take the stairs to go up to deck 13. The flow rider is complimentary. There's no extra charge for that. So if you want to try your hand at surfing or bodyboarding or whatever, you can do that. You can see in the background, there's some cornholes back here that you can play. And then they also have the stairs that lead up to the 2 water slides. So one of the water slides is an aqua blaster, and it actually has a raft that 2 people can get on together and go down the water slide together. And then down on deck 12 at the back of the ship, you can actually see the raft going by. On the other side of the stairs is the other water slide. On that one, you go down the water slide on a mat, but you go head first down that water slide. And then at the end of both of the water slides, there's a sport court. So at the sports court, they do different things. Basketball is pretty much all times of day and night. And then other times they'll have other activities like dodgeball, volleyball, soccer. And then on the other side of the sports court is the stairs that lead up to the suite lounge. So just like on the other side by the Viking Crown Lounge, on the exterior side, you can only access this area if you have a suite, and you have to use your room key in order to be able to get in here. Next to that is the rock climbing wall, and you will go on the other side to access the stairs to go up to the rock climbing wall. On this day when I went, the attendant was basically telling me that they have certain hours where they set aside for key members or pinnacle loyalty, different loyalty statuses and things like that. So that's why it wasn't really crowded at this point right here. And you can see that there's an opening to the aqua blaster at the top of the slide over on the right. Right here at the entrance to where you first come in, you can see that they have this full map, and they have a little note here. It says to get to the living room, the teen areas, you have to take the stairs going down. Leaving out of the regular entrance, I came in through the back deck area. So this here is actually the main entrance, and all of that was on the back of the ship. All right, so that's everything on the back of deck 13. And then I also said that there's the lime and coconut rooftop and the Navigator Dunes, which is the mini golf, and both of those are towards the front of the ship, but to get to them you actually have to go down to deck 12, walk across, and then you'll see the 2 of those. All right, heading back down to deck 12. At the front of the ship is the Vitality at Sea, which is the salon and spa. I was kind of disappointed this didn't have the thermal spa, but this is an older ship, so I wouldn't expect it to have everything that the newer ships will have. But it does have a full salon and spa, and they do offer free tours if you want to take a tour before you actually use any of their services. But they have the typical spa services, your hair and nails, your massages, your different treatments, your acupuncture, all that good stuff. Just outside the salon and spa is a big opening to the adult area, the Solarium. When we go down to deck 11, I'll show you that. The Lime and Coconut Bar actually has two bars. So there's the rooftop up on deck 13, there's the bar on deck 12, and then there's another bar on deck 11. And then the bar area on deck 12 has some really cool seating areas that's really good for watching the big movie screen. And then deck 12 has this big open area. It has two hot tubs up on deck 12, one on both sides, and then there's a shower on both sides. So that's pretty cool. You have really good views of the TV screen, of the main pool area, and of the sea or whatever port that you're in from both of those hot tubs. And then surrounding that open area is the jogging track. The jogging track actually starts right behind the big screen TV. On deck 12, and they also have them down on deck 11, they have these real colorful casitas. They try and make it like a Caribbean atmosphere with the lime and the coconut, and you can see the colors of the casitas. The casitas are an extra fee, so those have to be reserved, and then there's a fee for those. And then on the other side of the big screen TV, everything that's in the back of the ship on deck 12 is back there. So there's the Adventure Ocean for the kids, the Royal Babies and Tots Nursery, which is the 6 months to 3-year-olds. There's a video arcade back there, and the fitness center is back there, and also what I showed you earlier, the back deck and the living room for the teen areas. The video arcade is not complimentary. It is an extra charge to play the games back there. And I took some footage so you can have an idea about how much the games will cost. The Adventure Ocean for the bigger kids is complimentary. They have some special nights, really late night, where they do have some charges, but for the most part, the Adventure Ocean is complimentary. It's included in the cruise. But for the Royal Babies and Tots, the ones who are still in diapers up to the 3-year-olds, there is a fee for those. Just outside this door to the fitness center, before you get to the back deck and the living room area for the teens, is also one of the most quiet spots on the ship. So there's some chairs back here. There's hardly anybody back here. It's usually pretty quiet. So if you want to come out here and just read or just enjoy the scenery out the back of the ship, this is a really good spot. Just a reminder, I am a solo female traveler and I'll be sailing on cruise ships for the next 18 months. On each ship that I sail on, I'll be doing a full ship tour, including tours of all the cabins I stay in. In addition to sharing my journey, I'll be sharing the cost of each trip and show you how I find paradise on a budget. If you're interested in any of these types of videos, make sure you hit the like button so YouTube will know if you're interested. If you're interested in these types of videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you'll get notified whenever I load a new video. So let's go down to deck 11 and let's start with the Solarium, which, as I mentioned, is the adult only section. They have 2 balconies, one on each side, little small balconies that you can overlook the ocean if you want. They have lots of different types of chairs. They do also have those casitas with the day beds like we saw on deck 12, but in the Solarium area, you don't have to reserve them. There's no extra fee. It's just first come, first serve. And then there's other different types of seating. There's the half clamshell, there's the regular pool seating, there's some regular upright chairs. The Solarium also has 2 hot tubs. Both of those fit 12 people. They also have these cool stars above them, which look really cool at nighttime. I really like those. Then the Solarium has a main pool in the middle, and there's also a bar. All right, so leaving out of the Solarium area is the main pool area. You don't have to bring your towels from your room. You can just grab some pool towels. Make sure you turn them in before the end of the cruise, or they do charge you. They do have some safety vests for the kids when they're swimming, if you want to grab one of those. They also have this cute little seating area over here. I don't know why that's added. I think it's cute though. In the middle, they have the main lime and coconut bar. And then on the other side of that is where you get the soft serve ice cream. They're open from 10:30 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day. I remember when on cruise ship, you used to go get your own ice cream. I wonder if they start serving it because of COVID or because they just want to give the royal treatment and make sure someone serves you. I don't know, but I like it. So here's the hot tub over by the main pool area. And again, another look at the lime and coconut. You have the 2 bars, and then the 3rd floor is the rooftop. So just past the main pool area is El Loco Fresh. So here's El Loco Fresh. Flour tortillas, Mexican rice. Okay, so everything on the left is the same as everything on the right. So instead of standing in line over there, I'm gonna just come over here and grab some food. Looks like they are open from 10:30 or 11, and then on day 4, 1:30, every day till 5:30. Fried tortillas, Mexican rice, chili beef, some pork. We got some chips. Okay, let's see. What we got here? Chicken, beef carnitas, a little bit of black beans. Oh, this is Mexican beans. Contains pork. Some cheese. And then beef burritos and cheese quesadillas. And then you have your salsa bar over here. Let's get some lettuce. A little bit of onions. Some queso. Pico de gallo. There's jalapenos in the middle. I really want some pico de gallo, but I'm not supposed to be eating tomatoes, so leave that alone. Instead, I'll just have a little bit of sauce instead of the whole tomato. I don't know if that's better or not, but that's what I'm getting. I think I'll get some jalapenos to go with my chips. And your sauces, and that's it. So you have some ice water over there, and a nice view of the pool. Once you pass El Loco Fresh, there is the splash pad for the babies. So the ones who are still in diapers and they're not allowed to be in the big pool, they can come over and just splash away over here. And then on the other side of the splash pad is the Johnny Rockets Express. So this one is not like the other ones. Pay for the items either individually or as a combo like a regular fast food restaurant. And then the back end of deck 11 is the Windjammer. So the Windjammer is the main buffet. Inside of the Windjammer is also 2 specialty restaurants. There's Chops Grill, which is the main steak restaurant, and Jamie's, which is an Italian restaurant. And both of those are upcharges, and you do need reservations for both of those. But the Windjammer is the main buffet. It's open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Arms
When you're at the Windjammer, the saying that Sinbad used to say all the time, the comedian Sinbad used to say, the menu on the left is the same as the menu on the right. So if you go on the right side or the left side, it's probably gonna be the same stuff. So if you go there and there's a line, 9 times out of 10, you don't have to stand in line. Go to the next station and it probably has the same food. The Windjammer is for everybody, but especially for picky eaters, they're gonna always have your regular staples food, your grits, eggs, and bacon, your pancakes, your waffles, sausage, all that good stuff. For lunch and dinner, they're gonna have your burgers and fries, your mac and cheese, your chicken nuggets, chicken tenders, all that good stuff. But then they also will usually have whatever is the main feature in the main dining room. They'll also have that too. So up in the main dining room, they're serving grilled chicken or lasagna or jerk chicken. 9 times out of 10 is also going to be at the Windjammer. And the Windjammer also always has international food. So I always saw some kind of Asian food, some kind of food that had curry in it. So if you wanted to try something different, the Windjammer is the place to go. If you want to venture out and try something different, maybe see if there's something in the Windjammer that you want to try. So here's a little bonus for the foodies, people like me who just like to eat. When you book your cruise and you pick your cabin, pick a cabin that's either in the middle or the back of the ship that's close to the rear elevators when you're doing Royal Caribbean, because their restaurants are usually at the back of the ship. So if I really don't feel like getting up to go eat breakfast, but I'm just gonna throw on something real quick, if my room is close to the elevator, I can just hop on, run up to the Windjammer, get me some food, and come straight back down. The times that my cabin were at the front of the ship, I hated having to take that long walk just to go grab something real quick to eat and then go back to the room. Seems like it takes forever to get there and back. They have this open bar here at the Windjammer. Now that is just like all the rest of the drinks. There is an upcharge. If you don't have the beverage package, you'll have to pay for those drinks separately. But your regular drinks were complimentary. Your orange juice, apple juice, your fruit punch, your tea. So we'll move down to decks 10 and 9. 10 only has staterooms on it. 9 only has staterooms on it according to the deck map. But deck 9 also has a few other things that they don't mention on the deck map. One, they have this art installation of the planets that you can see better from up here in the open area on deck 9. And then also they have 3 model ships that you can see. And they have a bunch of different plaques that Royal Caribbean has gotten recognition for. I'm also going to show you on deck 9, but this is actually on all of the decks that have staterooms, but my room when I was doing the footage was on deck 9, and basically they have these stateroom finders. So when you first get on the ship and you're not yet sure where your stateroom is, check this out and try and use this to find your cabin. On deck 9, and I want to find my room. So I'm in 9259, enter. And it's telling me I need to go on that side, and it's showing me exactly where my room is. Proceed along deck 9, follow the highlighted route, and I'm towards the front of the ship near the other elevator. Right now I'm at the back elevator. All right, so let's go. Nine 259. Is this my room? This is my room, 9259. One of the cabins that I stayed in was a virtual balcony cabin. I'll put a link in if you're interested. Deck 8 is kind of like Deck 10. It really doesn't have anything except for staterooms. The other thing that it has is this open area of chairs. And also Decks 6, 7, and 8 have these balconies that you can look out over the Royal Promenade. So if there's like a parade or you just want to see how busy the Royal Promenade is, you can check that out from these balconies that's over on the side. During the cruise that I was on, as I said, the mini golf was closed at one point and some of the other venues were closed as well because the wind was really bad. Well, the wind being really bad made the waves really high, which made the boat rock a lot. We were all walking around looking like we had too much to drink. But when that happens, you'll notice that they put out what I call the barf bags. It wasn't too bad. I didn't see anyone using the bags, but they were there if we needed them. So if you're ever on a cruise ship and you see those, now you know what they're for. All right, moving down to Deck 7, where we have the staterooms, but we also have the library / card room, which the library you would probably think was going to be one of the top quiet areas, but not so. Just the opposite, because they have the library and the card room together in one. When I first got on the ship, this was my first stop, and I loved it. It was so beautiful. I knew I was going to be working on the ship, and I need to find an alternative spot when I didn't feel like working in my cabin. They have a bunch of books there, some board games, there's a printer there, and of course they have some computers if you need to use them. I found a multi-extension cord, so I was able to plug my laptop in whenever I needed to work. And also I had a really good view of the Royal Promenade. As the day went on, child, I was no longer the only person in there. People kept coming in there as a waiting area until the rooms opened up. So everybody was there with their luggage. People were starting to bring their kids in. And throughout the entire cruise, if you were coming to the library to check out a book and sit here and read, that was not going to happen. People brought all kinds of games. They were playing Uno, they were playing Catan. They had some other board games that the ship provided. And it was always noisy. If you booked a room over here, if you booked a room on Deck 7, I'm not sure if you were able to hear them or not, but it wasn't noisy like over by the pool noisy, but it wasn't quiet like a library quiet. All right, so going down one level to Deck 6, other than staterooms, the only other thing on Deck 6 is Next Cruise. And of course, Next Cruise is exactly what it says. You are able to book your next Royal Caribbean cruise. And they were giving out this handy dandy fleet guide. I thought it was pretty cool. It has all their ships and the different class that each ship is in. And as I said, I stayed in 2 cabins, one on Deck 9, one on Deck 6. I'll make sure I add the links to those. And Deck 5 does not have any staterooms on it. Deck 5 is your main dining room, and it has your Royal Promenade, which has all the shops on it, and then there's a cafe down there. And then at the other end, there's a lounge that has a secret doorway. So I'm gonna show you that one first. At the front of the ship is the Star Lounge, and as you're going through the corridor to the Star Lounge, there is a Crown Lounge. And this is for Diamond loyalty members, Diamond and higher, and there's someone in there who can assist them with different things. The Star Lounge itself is just what it says. It's a lounge. They have different activities in there, and it has its own bar. So a lot of times they'll do line dancing in here. They'll do trivia in here. They'll turn this into kind of a nightclub, but more of a chill nightclub. Some soft music, some dancing. As you can see on this day here, they turned it into the art gallery. Now this is not on any of the deck maps. When you go into the Star Lounge, if you make a right and go outside the double doors, it's going to lead you to 2 more sets of doors. You just go through those. If you make a right, it'll lead you to the exterior promenade, which is on the 4th deck, which I'll show you when we get to the 4th deck. But if you go to the left, it's going to take you to the front of the ship, and there's a helipad with an observation area that you can hang out in. This was by far my favorite part of the ship. It is the #1 quiet area. Occasionally there are other people, but when other people come, they're usually always quiet. Of course, you're at the front of the ship, so it's a great spot for you to be when the ship first takes off or when you're entering a new port. And of course, y'all know I had to go down there and do King of the World. So I promise you the 4 best quiet areas on the ship. This is one of them, and to me, the number one. Remember on deck 12, there was a spot at the back of the ship that was a quiet area. There was a sun deck at the very back of deck 12. And then I'll show you the third one coming up. So this was my spot when I just needed some relaxation. I didn't want to do any activities. I just wanted to read, or I just wanted to listen to some music or YouTube on my phone. I was also here when we were pulling into the port of Mazatlán, which was so beautiful to see all the islands. And as you can see, I became the photographer for a few people when I was down there. It's a great spot, of course, to take some pictures. If you're an early bird, this is a really good spot to grab you some breakfast down at the cafe promenade and just come and enjoy the view, meditate, pray, whatever you like to do to get your quiet morning started. So that's the front of the ship for deck 5. Now, back on deck 5, at the back of the ship is the main dining room. Deck 5 is actually the top floor of the main dining room. It's a 3-level dining room, so the bottom floor is on deck 3, middle floor is on deck 4, and top is on deck 5. The dining room is at the back of the ship. There are some tables that are along the windows of the ship. If you want to make sure that you get one, when you first get on the ship, go see the maitre d' and ask them if they have any seats along the window. I did for both legs of my cruise, and I was able to get a window seat. Now keep in mind, if you're at a window seat, you more than likely will not be able to see the entertainment that's happening, which is normally towards the interior of the dining room. One of the best parts about cruising full-time on a budget is you always have someone cooking your meals, and here is a sample of some of the meals that were served at the main dining room. So between the Star Lounge and the main dining room on deck 5 is the Royal Promenade. During this cruise, they had a special tribute to the military, and we also had a major international beauty pageant on board. Hi, for the owner's box, do you have to reserve it or you have to be special?
Yes, you have to reserve.
Is it, and how much is it to reserve it?
$100 for 3 hours.
$100 for 3 hours. Okay, and how many people fit like this?
Like 10.
10. Thank you.
the Miss World Universal pageant. So she's our new Miss Global World. She's a former Miss USA Universal. We're her sisters, Miss USA Elite, Miss USA Ambassador.
Oh, cool.
I won first runner-up overall. Our Miss US or our Miss World Ambassador. Our Miss World Universal Ambassador just left. She was Miss Japan Global World.
Oh, wow.
Our overall winner, Miss World Universal, is the former Miss United Kingdom. Angelina.
Gigi.
Andrea.
Andrea, nice to meet you all. Oh, thank you. This is a treat. Beautiful.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Ladies and gentlemen, we do of course have cake, and we do want to thank our food and beverage team down there and make sure that our veterans are first in line to get a slice of cake. Thank you so much for joining us here this morning. Thank you once again to our heroes. Let's give them a final round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Let them hear you. Let us thank them. And thank you so much for allowing us to do this tribute this morning. Have a wonderful day at sea, everyone. We'll see you later on. Thank you so much. Take it away, guys.
Try not to cry now.
Thank you so much. All right, y'all, we're getting close to the bottom of the ship. So now we're gonna head down to deck 4. The center of deck 4 is the casino, which is, as y'all know, that's my jam. That's how I'm able to take all these free cruises, find paradise on a budget. If you go to the front of the ship on deck 4, it has the schooner bar, Hook Seafood, which is specialty dining, so there is an upcharge for that, and the top balcony level for the Royal Theater. I mentioned a few places where they have trivia on the ship, but almost always the schooner bar is going to be a place that they have trivia.
Are you ready to start? So let's make some noise for the very first question. All right, guys. First question number 1. I want to know the Japanese word sakura. That is S-A-K-U-R-A. Sakura means the blossoming of what kind of tree? Once again, the Japanese word sakura means the blossoming of what kind of tree? Number 3 is actually a true or false. You have 50-50 chance to get it. I'm gonna ask you guys, is it true or false that in Germany it is legal for a 14 years old teenager to buy and drink beer? Once again, is it true or false that in Germany it is legal for a 14 years old teenager to buy and drink beer?
On the other side of the casino, at the back of the ship, they have a Starbucks back there. Of course, that's somewhere that you can go in and work, and they have outlets that you can plug in. Hidden back behind Starbucks, there is a desk for the group coordinator. So if you're taking a group cruise and you need to meet with the coordinator, that's the location that you'll find them on Navigator of the Seas. Across from Starbucks is Bolero's. Oddly enough, Bolero's also had some outlets, so if you want it to work during the day, it's usually pretty quiet over there, and there's some outlets that you can plug in. But in the evening, it was always something going on. They always had a live band, they always had people dancing, and whenever they had group meetups, I noticed that it was most likely over at Bolero's. For instance, they had all the solo meetups over there. And on the other side of Bolero's and Starbucks is the midsection of the main dining room. Deck 4 has the top balcony area for the Royal Theater. It's 2 levels. The ground level is on Deck 3. All the production shows are done in here. Sometimes they have a comedian. They'll have other things in here also. Like sometimes they'll have bingo here. This was also usually the meetup spot for excursions that are booked on the ship. If you look above the stage, you'll notice that they made it to look like a crown. The fourth and last best places for peace and quiet that I mentioned is on Deck 4. On both sides of the ship, they have an exterior promenade, and it's lined with chairs, but it's usually pretty quiet if you want to go out there and enjoy the scenery. I know there's quite a few people taking walks out there. Unlike on Deck 12 and at the observation site on Deck 5 at the front of the ship, the exterior promenade on both sides is in the shade, so it's usually pretty mild out here, and with the movement of the ship and the sound of the waves, for me, this is a very good spot to take a nap. There's also a few shuffleboard courts out here, so if that's something you're into, you just have to ask one of the staff to get you the equipment. I can't remember which side it was, starboard or port, but one side is smoking and the other side is non-smoking. So if you don't see the signs and you don't see people smoking, whichever side you see the ashtrays, that's the smoking side. The main attraction on Deck 3 is Studio B, where you can go ice skating. You can only get to Studio B from the back elevators near the dining room. So if you're at the front of Deck 3 near the Royal Theater, you have to go up or down a level, head to the back elevators, and then go back to Deck 3. Inside Studio B, as I said, you can do ice skating. They also have ice skating production shows. And on some sailings, they also have a drone show inside Studio B. I didn't do ice skating on this trip, but I have done ice skating on previous Royal Caribbean ships with my family. It is a lot of fun. Y'all, if you want to see something funny, watch these people from Florida. We don't know nothing about ice skating. It is a hoot. Of course, Royal Caribbean provides all the equipment you need, the ice skate, the helmets, the elbow and knee pads. They have a lot of rules. One, they don't want you bringing cell phones and cameras and other equipment, because if you accidentally drop it, God forbid, they don't want anybody's fingers touching the ice. You get the picture. Also, there's a lot of beginner skaters, people from Florida who've never been on the ice before. And also a lot of kids love to go ice skating. So just make sure that you read the rules and be aware of everything before you lace up. Outside of Studio B, there's the main area for the art gallery and also Focus, where you can go and pick up the pictures that you took around the ship. And then just past those is the lower level of the main dining room. All right, we're getting down to the wire here. Y'all, we at the last two decks. Deck 2 has the loyalty desk and the conference center. On this cruise, I actually turned platinum, yay me. So I did go down and pick up my platinum pin from the loyalty ambassador. If you're ever not sure of what your perks are when you're on the ship, you can head over to the loyalty ambassador. Also on deck 2, as I said, the conference center is down here. On Navigator, they have 4 conference rooms. So if you're planning any kind of group activities, these are available. One time we had a family Thanksgiving on the cruise, and we wanted to keep our tradition of holding hands and going around the table and saying what we were thankful for. Obviously that wasn't appropriate in the main dining room or the Windjammer, so we did book a room in the conference center and were able to enjoy. We're able to bring our food down and keep our tradition. So whatever your group wants to do, as I said, there's 4 conference rooms, 2 on each side, so they can be broken up into 2 larger conference rooms if you need it. And then down to the bottom deck, which is deck 1. So deck 1 doesn't show on any of the deck maps, but it's there. Just like on land, if you have an emergency, you would hit 911. But if you have any kind of issues, say, for instance, one time one of my granddaughters had scraped her knee over in the mini golf area. Any minor boo-boos like that, the medical staff is able to help. And deck 1 is also used for whenever you're going into ports. And that was a long video, but we are done. So that's it, y'all. I hope you enjoyed this tour, and if you have any comments or questions, please leave them below and I'll respond to them as soon as I can. Make sure you check out the other videos that I have on the channel, and I hope to see you on the next cruise.